All right, guys. Think the audio's messed up. Hold on. Hold on. I got it. Fixing it now. Okay. We good? Not yet? It's better? It's not better? Puberty sounding MBG? Still sounds bad. Alright, hold on, guys. Hold on. Oh, okay, hold on. I know what the problem is.
Okay, we should be good now. No more puberty sounding MBG. Hopefully normal sounding MBG. Sorry about that. Sounding like the old MBG. Yeah, you guys would like that, wouldn't you? All right, guys. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for joining me today. I got to give an immediate shout out to Drive By Joe, who dropped a member gift before the stream even started. So Drive By Joe.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good stuff, man. I'll add that to the member counter. You guys know how we roll. We'll see if we can get up to 25 members today. We did hit the goal yesterday, which was awesome to see. We'll see if we could do it again today and give boss some more treats. He was exercising earlier, so you don't have to feel guilty. He's making some extra space calorically for it. So, but yeah, guys, we're going to talk about PlayStation Showcase today. Is Sony going to hold one? I figure it's a good time to have this conversation because, well, Microsoft just announced their showcase. You know, obviously, a lot of PlayStation players are going to tune into that, but let's face it, a Microsoft showcase is not a Sony showcase. They're two separate things. Even though the lines are blurred this time around, they're two separate things. We also have a super chat from Yaren. Thank you for that, buddy, saying Nintendo says tariffs are not the reason the Switch 2 costs $450. Also, Nintendo has indefinitely delayed the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2 in China. Nintendo is number one. That's why they cost more. Well, you heard it from Yaren, boss. Nintendo's number one. That's why it costs more. Nintendo's number one. Nintendo's number one. Yeah, we are going to talk a little bit more about the Switch 2 because, well, I mean, everybody's talking about the Switch, right? I feel like it's completely taken over. Maybe not an unexpected thing when you consider that, you know, how long we've been waiting for this reveal. But it does seem like there's still uncertainty about the pricing of the Switch 2. Yesterday, Donald Trump announced a 90-day pause on the reciprocal tariffs. And that seemingly, this is an assumption on my part, but seemingly that's going to make it so that Nintendo's not going to raise the price of the actual console itself. And yeah, that's true, Michael. You know, people are still talking about the price of games. I'm kind of over that conversation mostly. I'm more interested in finding out at this point when pre-orders are going live, just because I want to know if the price is going to change or not. When it comes to the pricing of their games, man, I mean, it is what it is. You know, I don't think Nintendo's going to walk it back. It'd be cool if they did, but I think they're going to stick with that variable pricing. What's up, Ray? But yeah, I saw that too. Nintendo announced that they're not, well, it's not that they're not going to release the Switch 2 ever in China, but like you're saying, they announced it's delayed indefinitely. So it's an Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo showcase. We're going to get all three at once. That would be pretty sick. Would never happen. The closest we ever got to that was the 2019 Game Awards, where it was like Sean Layden, Phil Spencer, and Reggie, I think, all standing on stage together. Closest thing we'll ever get. Something like that. Angry Whale Watcher, what's going on, man? I saw somebody in my comments yesterday, or I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. They were like, the Switch 2 isn't sold out. It's like misinformation or whatever. And I'm like, they were specifically saying the pre-orders were delayed. And I'm like, I think the people who were saying that the Switch 2 is sold out or the pre-orders are sold out are in territories where the Switch 2 pre-orders went live, not the US, not Canada. So I think that person was a little confused. But I have no doubt the moment pre-orders go live in the US and Canada, they're going to sell out. Of course they are. What's up, Whiskey Gaming? Michael, there's a rumor right now on the Gaming Leaks and Rumor subreddit that says Silk Song is going to be at the Xbox showcase. Did I see Where the Winds Meet trailer that Sony posted? I saw that they put up a trailer. I didn't watch it yet, though. Is that a PlayStation console exclusive? I forget. I remember seeing that game, I think, at a State of Play. And we have Illegal Monkey with the $5 super chat. Thank you for that, buddy, saying, wife and I collect anime figures. A place we get stuff from announced price increases of 15 to 40% now due to Trump's tariffs. Stock from China/Vietnam. Very interesting, Illegal Monkey. Yeah, I mean, I think people are breathing a big sigh of relief with the 90-day pause on the reciprocal tariffs, but there is still a 10% across the board. And, I mean, China, 125%. But yeah, that 10% I think is still being applied to Vietnam. So that does suck. But collecting, I don't know why I said it like that. Collecting anime figures is like, I mean, I think that's something that people are willing to pay a bit of a premium for. If the price, if it's like, oh, I wanted this anime figure, and it's like the price went up by like 20%. I feel like you're probably still gonna buy it. Well, I don't know. Then again, I don't know the pricing of anime figures, so. I don't think I would ever collect anime figures. I don't think that's for me. Hold on, let me pop this out here. God, man, if I could just have a stream where my studio doesn't just constantly crash, that would be amazing. By the way, guys, if you have not already, please take a moment and hit that like button. Hitting the like button lets me know you enjoy the streams, and it helps the streams. Yeah, Gaming Survivor, it almost came out, bro. It almost came out. That would have been bad. Who wouldn't want a lower price? No, exactly. Everybody wants a lower price. MBG, not all of the PlayStation concerts are canceled. Only a few. Thank God. Thank God. No, I have not seen these trailers yet. I saw that they were posted on the PlayStation YouTube channel, but I haven't watched them yet. Did you see that the Xbox showcase will be digital because of fear from backlash from showing the PlayStation logo on multiple Xbox games? I did find the timing of this peculiar. Yeah. Like Microsoft deciding to do a digital showcase now, I think makes sense because, yeah, dude, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to have a live showcase where you're going to invite Xbox content creators, Xbox enthusiasts, and really loyal Xbox fans to then be like, guys, are you excited for us to show you all these games with PlayStation 5 logos? I feel like, yeah, you're at high risk of getting booed. Like straight up, I think there would just be boos, and it would be really awkward. It would actually be amazing. The more I think about it, if they did decide to stick with a live show, I would love to see that. But somebody's going to throw a tomato at Phil. You see what I mean? What could have been, boss? It's not time. You should know by now. You should know by now. It takes a little bit. Okay, come on. You'll live. You'll be okay. They did say, to be clear, they did say they're still going to do an Xbox Fan Fest. They did say that for the I think it's the 10th anniversary, but they're doing it at a later date. But yeah, that would just be, I think, kind of dumb on Microsoft's part to invite people, the most hardcore Xbox fans out during what is going to be one of the most talked about showcases they ever do for not all the, I want to say, not right or wrong reasons, but just for different reasons. People are going to be talking about PS5 and Switch probably more than Xbox, like as a console during that time. So it looks a little, it would look a little strange. You think it's due to cost cutting measures? Well, I would say, yeah, that is part of it. If they didn't announce that they're also still going to be doing something for Xbox Fan Fest, I think that's what makes it seem strange. But I mean, there's no denying that Microsoft eventually was going to have to get on board with this digital event situation. Nintendo's been doing it, Sony's been doing it, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised Microsoft held out as long as they did. But yeah, it's just that time. Everything's gone digital. All these events are going to be digital. Although Jeff Keighley, he's keeping the spirit alive. He's doing all his events still live in person, which is cool. I do wonder if Sony would ever reconsider. We talk about the idea of a PlayStation showcase, but people have talked for a while about wanting to see Sony bring back PlayStation Experience. PlayStation Experience was like a live fan event and almost like a second showcase, but mainly dedicated to the fans. I do wonder if Sony would ever consider bringing something like that back. I want to say probably not. I think at this point it's just digital only. And now that Microsoft's on board with digital only showcases, the big three are all digital now. So, but yeah, that's something we do have to consider. Gaming Survivor is I'm completely disregarding the idea of Sony ever doing something like that again, but it is true that they have new leadership in place now, and I'm assuming some changes have taken place with like PR and stuff and marketing to some degree anyway. So there is a possibility that they could maybe think of doing different things compared to what we've seen for the past 4 or 5 years. But at this point, all we really want is, we'll take a digital showcase, right? Like, is Sony going to hold a digital PlayStation showcase this year? A lot of people have been asking this question, I think, the past 24 hours or so. Well, to be honest, people have been asking this question for many, many months, practically years at this point. And I'm telling you, man, it's going to be pretty awkward if Sony doesn't do a showcase this year. I don't think anybody would be shocked and be like, oh my God, I'm so shocked that Sony's not doing a showcase again. But there would be some level of surprise just based on the fact that it would be the longest they ever went without doing a showcase. And the fact that, it feels like, yeah, people are going to, if Sony announces a state of play in May or June when, Nintendo had their big event and Microsoft's having their big showcase, I think people are going to feel kind of underwhelmed. Michael Lynch with the $5 chat. Thank you, buddy. Saying, remember, Sony announced that they are trying to decide if they're going to do a showcase this year. So they are at least thinking about it. Yes. And that to me is interesting because it does show, I would assume that the reason why they're thinking so heavily about it or like weighing the options is because of the way their last showcase went. I think that's why. Hold on. We gotta call out. I'm gonna read this chat. I'm gonna read these two chats that were removed, but we're gonna bring the hammer down. PlayStation is a joke. Sony really did another price hike on PS Plus as if that service is even worth any money. LMAO. Imagine paying to play online and have cloud saves. Sony is trash AF. Bro. Let me see what's his name here. Ruben? Bro, you came into this stream to say that about PlayStation. I'm not Sony. I'm not PlayStation. Okay? Like, you saying that, you going out of your way to come to my chat to say that isn't going to make Sony be like, you know what though? You're right. We're you know what? We're going to make sure we don't raise the prices in Latin America now. Yeah, I'm just saying, man, you're yelling in the wrong place. Okay? We're just here trying to talk about a PlayStation showcase. Can we dream? Can we dream in peace? Can we just huff our hopium in peace? Can't even do that no more. Hmm. But yeah, the price increase there. I think Sony announced a price increase for Latin America for PlayStation Plus, which sucks. But I think it's still cheaper there. Maybe I'm not sure. Like comparatively, I didn't look that deep into it. But you know, if you don't like it, you just gotta unsub. That's the best thing to do. But Michael, getting back to your super chat, it is interesting to me that Sony's weighing their options because I think the 2023 PlayStation Showcase did some damage. I really believe that. I think that that was the first time I think Sony really dropped the ball with a showcase. They've had like some weaker E3 outings, and I'm not talking back during like the PS3 era and stuff like that. But I'm talking like from the PS4 onward. They've had a couple of like weaker E3 shows, and you know, there have been some showcases that were like really good, but not like next level good. But I think that that 2023 PlayStation Showcase actually did some damage. I think Sony was just like, damn, uh, maybe we should not do this again. But that's my hope. I can't prove that, but it makes me hopeful that if they are going to go through with doing a showcase, like if they do make that decision, that it's going to be a really good one because they know they can't risk having another weak showing like they did in 2023, especially because it'll be basically 2 years, right? And it's like you can't have a bad showcase in 2023, then wait 2 years and have another bad showcase in 2025. You do wonder if they go to sleep and wake up tormented by PlayStation's existence. Yaren, you're saying the super secret Sony showcase is the Xbox showcase. Hiroki Totoki's going to walk on stage with Satya Nadella, and they're going to shake hands, and they're going to announce the next console, the Sony Playbox 720. And that's it. That's the future of gaming right there. You wonder if they wake up tormented. Dude, people look, obviously price increases suck, but the solution is simple. All right? The solution is simple. If you don't like the idea of paying for PlayStation Plus at all, whether it's to play online or because you feel like the games that they're giving you are not worth it or it's just too expensive, the solution is go game on PC. And then you don't have to pay anything, right? You don't have to, PlayStation Plus doesn't have to exist in your life to any capacity. That's why I find it funny that it's like, no, people would rather go to online circles, you know, to YouTube channels or forums and freak out. Meanwhile, like, bro, most people who are talking about PlayStation right now, I'm not saying that isn't something that they're talking about. It should be something we're acknowledging and talking about. But generally speaking, I think people are just like, well, that sucks. Anyway, you know, like, why don't people kind of realize at this point that people have settled on where they want to play? If there's one thing that has become clear to me recently, is that we've kind of reached this, I guess I'll just call it a point, right? I don't know if there's a different name I can use for it, but we've reached this point where I think everybody's just decided where they want to play. Like they know where they want to play. Like I want to play on PlayStation. I want to play on PC. I want to play on Nintendo. I want to do mobile gaming. I want to play on Xbox, right? Like I just look at the landscape and I'm like, who's fighting to win people over at this point? I don't think anybody is. Even Microsoft isn't. Microsoft isn't trying to win you over. They're just trying to they're trying to bring their stuff to you. Sony isn't really trying to win. I mean, I guess you could say Sony's still trying to win you over, but really to what extent? We're sitting here talking about whether or not they're going to do a PlayStation showcase. Clearly they're just kind of doing their thing. You know what I mean? They're going through the motions. And same with Nintendo, man. Nintendo, they did their job. They had their presentation and they're like, this is how much it's going to be. And if you don't like it, That's why we're still supporting the Switch 1. You can go buy that. Meanwhile, Valve's still just doing what they've always done. They're the option, right? Where if you don't like anything that the big three are offering and you want more versatility, more freedom, go to Valve. Go to PC, right? This is why it's just, I just think that generally speaking, people are pretty happy where they are. And the great news is that if you're not, there's actually more options than ever before to go somewhere else. So, I don't know. It's always just weird to me to see people getting so upset and so riled up because, again, I went through this with Xbox and looking back on it, to hindsight 2020 and all, but man, I wasted so much time and energy. Gaming Survivor, I'm not going to lie, it's like when you actually like remove them, that's what catches my attention, but it's funny. You can taste the saltiness of these PlayStation ponies from the Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive game, The Duskbloods. Ponies thought that From Software would only make exclusive games for PlayStation. Yaren with the super chat says GameStop's closing down to buy Bitcoin. Nintendo requires downloads to play games. Sony and Xbox are getting rid of disk drives. Is physical nearly dead? I think realistically, it's on its last legs. Like I think it's still got time, but I'm getting nervous. I mean, it's been dying slowly for years now, but man, it does feel like it's accelerated in the last few years, and it feels like it's only gaining more momentum. It is unfortunate. It is, but I think there's still enough people that are going to fight as hard as they can to keep it alive. I think there's still going to be people who. It's just one of these things where it's like until the day comes where I can no longer buy games that I want physically, I'm just going to keep buying them physically. And that's, that's probably what I'm going to do. But yeah, it's spooky out here, man. But the reality is, and I encounter so many people who play on PlayStation, or just generally speaking, they're like, yeah, man, I just buy my stuff digitally. And it even comes from people who were pretty intense with physical games, but then just one day decided, you know what, I'm just going to make the switch. And so, yeah, I'm really curious to see. So I would expect the next generation Xbox, Yaren, is not going to have a disc drive at all. I don't even think they're going to have physical games for the next Xbox, especially with the rumors that they're going to be like a PC hybrid. I'm going to say, yeah, no disc drive, no more physical games for Xbox. When it comes to PlayStation, I'm really, that's really what I'm paying attention to. So we see what Nintendo's doing. And you kind of mentioned it here. Nintendo requires downloads to play games. A lot of people, I think, were expecting Nintendo to be the ones to really keep physical alive in a more meaningful way. And with the Switch 2, it seems like they actually, they went in a direction that I think nobody was anticipating, which is like, yeah, you could buy physical Switch games, but I mean, the data isn't really going to be on the cartridge, at least not in all cases. There's just like multiple games apparently launching with Switch 2 that it's like you could buy them physically, but once you put it in the Switch 2, like you have to download the entire game. And yeah, I just think people were expecting that to not at all be the case. So there's a lot of pressure on Sony. And I'm nervous, dude, because I think Sony now has they kind of have the runway to a degree. I think what Nintendo is doing just made it that much easier for Sony to get even more aggressive. I mean, by the time the PlayStation 6 comes out, we're going to be looking at probably a next generation Xbox that doesn't even have physical games. We're going to be looking at a Nintendo Switch 2 where you can buy these cartridges, but there's really going to be like no data even on the cartridge. I mean, what is Sony going to do at that point? If I had to guess, I mean, I could see them and many other publishers deciding they're going to follow suit, right? And like you can buy a disc, but there's nothing on the disc. Something like that. I don't know. I don't know, man. A lot of things I think have happened that people weren't necessarily prepared for or predicted, and I would expect that that's going to happen again to some degree. But I would love to see Sony continuing to support physical media. The one thing I will say that I think works in the favor of people who collect physical games on PlayStation or buy physical games on PlayStation is that with that Insomniac hack that occurred, we got a really good look into data from PlayStation that we would never have otherwise known about. And one of the things that the data revealed is that more people than you would think, specifically with PlayStation's games, still buy physically. It like the percentages were not like 90-10 or 80-20. I mean, like there were some cases where like 40+% of the sales of certain PlayStation games were physical. And this was during like, the PS5 generation as well. So I do think that this is a good sign that, Sony, they see that data, and not in all cases. It's not like every game does that. I'm saying there are these first party games that sell way more physical than you would expect. Others, it's what you would expect. Most people are buying it digital. But I'm just saying, I'm kind of clinging to that as like hope that Sony will look at that and be like, well, we don't want to risk, having to force those people and then those people getting angry. Or maybe those people just simply can't buy the games digitally. Like maybe their internet's garbage or something. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Sony definitely has some decisions to make. But getting back to the PlayStation Showcase conversation, I actually want to put out a poll. Let's see. I'm just going to keep it a simple yes or no. What third option should I put? I'm going to ask, will Sony hold a PlayStation Showcase this year? Yes, no. Should I even put a third option? Because I feel like everybody would say 50-50. I think I'm just going to keep it yes or no. I'm just going to keep it yes or no. I don't know why I asked you guys. State of play alternative. Yaren with another super chat says the original PlayStation was called the PlayStation X. It'll be funny if Microsoft or Sony buy each other one day and bring the name back bigger than ever. PlayStation X. Well, I don't think Microsoft could ever acquire Sony. I mean, they could afford them, but I don't think they could ever actually acquire them. And Sony could never even think about nobody could think about acquiring Microsoft. But the idea of I feel like people have been thinking about that forever. Hold on. I don't know why this didn't work. Okay. Yeah, vote on that poll. Will Sony hold a PlayStation Showcase this year? But Yaren, I think people have been kind of fantasizing about the idea of Sony and Microsoft joining forces and working together. And what we're seeing now actually is the closest thing to that. I mean, they are kind of working together. Well, they are partners. They're going to be making money off of each other. But I think, what you're kind of talking about here is the idea that they put out a console that they both worked on together, and they kind of, I mean, you can't help but wonder what something like a PlayStation, a Sony Microsoft showcase, what that would be like, where you got Microsoft's games, you got Sony's games, and you got all these third party games. It'd be pretty nuts. It'd be pretty crazy. Right now, the poll's looking like it's 50-50, split down the middle. Yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys think. I didn't really have any expectations for it. MBG, did you hear Elon streamed himself playing Path of Exile 2 and got cyberbullied for an hour before shutting it down? Oof. No, I actually didn't hear about that. That's rough. Is Halo really coming to PlayStation? It seems like the answer to that is yes. I don't know when, but multiple reports and rumors from credible insiders have stated that Halo the Master Chief Collection is going to be announced for both PS5 and the Nintendo Switch 2. So the latest rumor we are getting is from the insider Ecstasis. He says, let me bring it up here. He says that the Gears of War collection, Silk Song, Persona 4 remake, Ninja Gaiden 4, and Minecraft Dungeons 2 will all appear at the Xbox Showcase 2025. So it sounds like we're going to get Gears first, if that is to be believed. If you don't pump the showcase this year, how will I sell PlayStation Therapy? Trust me, something tells me something else is going to come around to sell us some place that'll make it easy for you to sell some PlayStation Therapy. Oof. What's up, Dragon Knight? One thought I had, MBG, do these tariffs scare Sony off the idea of potentially releasing new hardware sooner rather than later? Reports from last year were suggesting a shorter gen for PS5. I think what Sony is likely doing right now, considering how volatile everything is, and what I mean by volatile is that, like, it's just very unstable. You know, like, nobody knows what's going to happen. Every day we're getting new headlines. I mean, it's something different every day. I think what Sony's doing is just staying the course right now. I think Sony has a timeline. They have a timeline for what they what they're what the you know like when the what the PS6 is going to be and when it's going to come out. I think they have that timeline. I think they're willing to make adjustments to it, but only if they really need to. So I think right now they're just kind of paying attention, just like everybody else is, to what's going on. But you know, generally speaking, I think if if they are internally targeting a 2028 release for the PS6, I don't think what's happening right now is going to alter that. If by the end of this year it's like, yeah, the economy is totally overturned, or the entire world economy is completely overturned, and it stays that way, then I could see Sony making a more concrete change to their timeline. Boss, hey, no. PS5 is a GOAT investment. Boss, stop it. You don't think there's enough advances in tech or reduction in price of tech to warrant a new gen so quickly? Well, that's the big question mark, Broccoli Rob. It's a question mark that's going to linger for many years, or at least a few years. Maybe not many, but a few years. And that is, what is Sony going to do to justify a new generation of PlayStation? How are they going to sell it? This is something I've been talking about ad nauseum because it truly is like to me, that's the elephant in the room when talking about PlayStation. I think some people think that the idea of a PlayStation showcase is the elephant in the room. I don't think that's the elephant in the room. I think the elephant in the room is, how is Sony going to sell the PlayStation 6? Sony cancels the PS6. They wouldn't cancel it, but they could delay it or come up with an alternative strategy to sell it. If Xbox exits, Sony and Nintendo will be competing with $150 games. There needs to be a third console that tries to keep everything in check. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad thing, certainly. Hold on. Okay. Boss, you can't come on my desk and start chewing stuff, man. Behave. Behave, boss. Come on. Over here, he's over here trying to chew my headphones and stuff. Chill, bro. Chill. Calm. Calm yourself, boy. Sean Mitchell with the super chat says, "Seen The Last of Us is renewed for a third season, 5 versions of 2 games, 3 seasons of 2 games. The more this milking goes on, the more I distance myself as a fan." I mean, it's like I said, Sean, I talked about this. I'm losing track of the days here. I don't know if I talked about it yesterday or the day before, but I think Sony's got to be careful with the milking, the oversaturation of some of their IP. And Corey the Legend Landiga comes in out of nowhere, dropping a 5 bomb on you guys. Corey, bro, I didn't even know you were here, man. Boss must have sensed it. Every time Boss starts acting up, Corey appears. Thank you so much for that.
I'll be back.
I feel like that's always the soundbite I got to use when Corey shows up. He just walked in. He's like, "Here you go, bro." See, Boss is acting a fool again. Boss, please stop chewing stuff. We'll get there. Hold on. Yeah, Sean, I do think that Sony is really at risk here. Naughty Dog's at risk of reaching that point of oversaturation where people are going to get a little bit annoyed with it. But I think they're just waiting to see a dip. And I don't think that dip has occurred. All right, you play with that. I had to get something to distract him. You still don't see a reason to buy a PS5 Pro? So, really quick before I move on, Sean, the main reason I think The Last of Us got renewed for season 3 is because the showrunners said that the second game is going to need multiple seasons. But yeah, man, I'm getting that feeling as well a little bit. Like, it does feel like everywhere I look, there's just something Last of Us coming from Sony. And it does get to a point where it's like Sony has rested so many other franchises and so many other. You know what it comes down to, though, Sean? And this is something we have to, I think, keep in mind. I don't think this is fully Sony. We know that Sony gives a ton of freedom to their studios to do what they want. Sony lets them walk away from games, move on from IP. But it seems like in the other direction, Sony is willing to let these studios latch on to a singular IP, like Guerrilla with Horizon. And now, like, for now, anyway, Naughty Dog with The Last of Us. But that's why I'm still trying to be optimistic about Intergalactic, because it's like, dude, Intergalactic could be a breath of fresh air from Naughty Dog. I know that there's a lot of people being down on it and assuming the worst about it, and I get it, but I'm hoping that it will feel very different in a good way. You're optimistic about it too, Sean? Yeah, hopefully it really does things very differently from Uncharted, from The Last of Us, and it feels like a truly fresh game from Naughty Dog. We still got Factions 1. Pain, bro. Pain. I mean, shit, I think at this point we'll take a remaster of Factions 1, you know? Sony does really give their studios a lot of freedom, though, or is it just marketing / PR speak? No, they really do. It's not marketing. Okay, boss, there's not enough space, bro. You are being bad. Swear to God, man, half the stream is me trying to tame this animal. It's not just marketing because we've seen the negative results of this. Like, for example, people don't realize that Sony did not approach Blue Point Games and say, "Hey, Blue Point, you're making a live service God of War game." That's not how that works. The way it works is Blue Point is given a certain window of time to decide as a studio what they want to pitch Sony. And Blue Point made the decision themselves. I'm not saying there couldn't be like suggestions or something. I'm sure that occurs, you know? It's not like there's zero communication, but the idea is Blue Point as a studio decides what they want to do, then they pitch it to Sony, and then it's up to Sony to decide whether or not they like the pitch and go through with it. And it just turns out that somebody at Sony, Herman, made the mistake of deciding that, you know what, I like this idea, a live service God of War game from Blue Point. And to be fair, maybe the pitch did sound good. I mean, who knows? Like, you have to imagine if like you had a one-on-one call with the head of Blue Point and he was like pitching you this game, like the live service God of War game, you know? He might win you over too. He might be like, "Oh, you know what? That actually sounds awesome." But, you know, that's the job of somebody like Herman Hulst to have that bigger picture overhead view where, for as great as it may sound, I think you got to realize that I don't know that's what you guys should be doing. The answer would just be a flat out no. But yeah, that's kind of how this works. So, you know, truth is, if Naughty Dog wanted to do The Last of Us Part 3, yeah, Sony would just say yes to that. Sony was probably more hesitant to say yes to Intergalactic than they would have something like an Uncharted 5 or The Last of Us Part 3. And so it is seemingly a conscientious decision on the studio's part to lean this hard into The Last of Us, but also a studio like Guerrilla leaning so hard into Horizon, where, you know, I think it's Sony, I don't think cares as long as they're producing results. You know, like people wonder, like, why is Sony going so crazy with Horizon? It's because, dude, it's Guerrilla. We need to understand that. It's Guerrilla Games that's going crazy with Horizon. Like, they want to keep making more Horizon. They want to Horizon everything, right? And I think the reason why Sony doesn't stop it or step in and say, no, like take a break, do something else, is because they're still producing results. How many units are your games selling? Now, maybe something like Horizon Call of the Mountain for VR, I don't know how well that did or didn't do, but it's a VR game, so I don't know how much pressure, you know. The God of War Ascension multiplayer, I never did play that. Was that good? You're saying it was the GOAT? I mean, I'm not opposed to the idea of having like an extension of God of War, kind of like Ghost of Tsushima, like you have a multiplayer mode of some kind. That would be cool. But I just think the idea of a live service game is very off-putting to people. Hanzo, you're saying it was decent? Muhammad says it was okay. You think there are still people playing it? You saw rumors of an Intergalactic Collector's Edition floating around on X? Don't believe it. Be careful, Dark Cloud. It's way too soon for that. Dragon Knight, you're saying you're hyped and optimistic about Intergalactic? Yeah, I'm very much intrigued, man. It's going to be harder to talk about it now, though, because it seems like it's going to be a while till we see it. And this is when we go back to talking about the PlayStation Showcase. Is Naughty Dog ready to show some Intergalactic? Because I would think that would be a great game to show at a showcase. What I think Sony needs to do to have a successful showcase in 2025, looking at the 2023 PlayStation Showcase and determining that that was basically a failure. If not a failure, just a very mediocre showcase, right? We want good showcases. We want great showcases. Make showcases great again, right? Is what we want. I think they need to have a gameplay packed show. where I think Sony can maybe pull back on the new announcements if like they don't have many new things ready to announce. They have a couple things, but basically let's see some Wolverine gameplay. Let's see some Intergalactic gameplay. Let's see some Saros gameplay. Let's see some Ghost of Yote gameplay. Those 4 games I just listed, if we saw all 4 of those games at a PlayStation showcase and they all got like, kind of like the way Sony used to do it with the PS4 era, like 5 to 8 minute gameplay demonstrations, I think people would be losing their minds. And it'd be, the hype would be through the roof. But I just don't know that Sony's willing to do things like that anymore. They seem like they kind of want to play it closer to the chest. But I do think that it's like now would be a good time to get back into the swing of things with showcases. And I think the best way to do that is show some gameplay. Wolverine's not coming this year. There's no way. Yeah, that's not happening. I mean, we are getting Marathon. And I am actually very, very, very interested in seeing this game. I'm not going to lie. I'm feeling kind of hyped. I don't know that I'm like the most hyped, but I'm actually very excited to see this game now that it's right around the corner. I hope it's not a letdown. Onimusha demo? You mean the new Onimusha coming in 2026? Metal Gear Online? Oh, don't get me started on Metal Gear Online, dude. Listen. Sony could have a showcase where the only thing it is, it's like, guys, we don't have anything to show you. But we do have Konami here, and they're announcing the revival of Metal Gear Online. Oh, I'd lose my mind in the best way. I would love to see Metal Gear Online come back, dude. I feel like Metal Gear Online is still technically alive with Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, but no, I just that game I think dropped the ball in some ways. Metal Gear SOCOM, I would take it. You think MGS Online was overrated? Didn't dig it? Which one did you play? Because there were 3 versions. There was Metal Gear Online 1, which came out with Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence. That was for like the PS2. Then Metal Gear Online 2, which a lot of people consider the best version of it on PS3. So you played MGO2 with MGS4? Yeah. Dino Crisis? Yeah, people have been wanting Dino Crisis to return, and Capcom, if I had to guess, they are doing something with it. So I imagine we're going to hear about that at some point. You think Sony doesn't have enough games for a showcase? I don't agree with that. It depends. It depends on what you expect from that showcase. Sony can't do a similar showcase like Microsoft, right? Microsoft showcase, they're able to kind of bombard you with just so many different games because look at how many studios they own. Every year they're going to have at least like 8 to 10 teams are probably ready to show their games. Sony can't match that, but I think what Sony can do is lean into what I think generated the most amount of interest for them back in the PS4 days, which was you don't have to show like 4, 5, 6, 7 games. Just show 2 or 3, maybe sometimes more if you're able to, but show extensive gameplay demos. Show people what the game is and let that kind of build the hype for you and build the interest. I think they should do that again, man. I would love to see that. Now, the reason why they probably don't do that is because they're probably afraid that it's going to diminish state of plays. And it seems like Sony really has worked hard to try to make state of play successful. And I think it is successful. But I just think the problem is there's always going to be a cap on a state of play. That cap is going to be there because it's not a showcase. And I don't know, man. I'm not sure that holding back a showcase not doing a showcase this year, I think would ultimately be a mistake on Sony's part. But at the end of the day, I could also see a reality where they're just like, we're not doing showcases anymore. That would be very disappointing. But you could kind of understand where it's like, all right, well, if you're going to do 3 or 4 state of plays a year, that's basically a showcase divided into 4 separate parts. You know, it's less exciting because it's going to be divvied up and not happening all at once, but you can kind of see why they would do that. A modern day Dino Crisis would be awesome. Dino Crisis made in RE engine. Ooh, yeah, that'd be real good. Where's MotorStorm, SOCOM, Infamous, and Twisted Metal? Sony did try to revive Twisted Metal, didn't work out. Infamous, I think, is done. SOCOM, I think, might be done for good too. And MotorStorm, there were some rumblings of a potential MotorStorm game in development, but nothing has come up from that yet. Like, we don't know which studio would be working on that, or if those rumors were even real or not. A MotorStorm would be welcome. That would be cool. I mean, all those games you mentioned would be welcome. I don't think we're going to, out of all those games listed though, I think the one that we actually won't see is an Infamous, because I think that's a series that only Sucker Punch would want to touch, and I think Sucker Punch is not at all interested right now in making another Infamous. I think they're squarely focused on the Ghost series now, at least for the time being. Sony acts like they can't afford to make these AA games again. It's really weird. Well, don't forget, Kazjam. Don't forget what Mark Cerny said, right? Mark Cerny, he was asked, like, why do developers... I forget exactly how the question was phrased, but he was basically asked, like, why are games getting bigger and bigger? And Mark Cerny responded by simply saying, like, that's because the developers want that. That's what they want. Those are the types of games they want to make. Now, you could make an argument that maybe Sony's AAA teams, you know, they've gotten overly ambitious at this point, where it's like they can't slow down. They won't slow down. They want to just keep going bigger and bigger and bigger. And maybe Sony's the one where they're like, oh my God, like they're going to burn all our money. It's too expensive. But you know, Sony's extremely focused on keeping their developers happy. And sometimes that can be detrimental. You know, there does need to be that perfect balance of management. And I think AA games are something that Sony, no matter what, is going to have to look into trying to implement more, whether they want to, like whether the studios want to or not. I think Sony's going to have to find some kind of solution there. But I don't think Sony needs to go crazy with it. You just got to be careful. You got to be careful what you wish for, because these teams are always looking to one-up themselves. And these are some of the most experienced teams in the industry. And I'm not sure how people would respond to, like, Guerrilla Games being like, here's a AA game. Or Insomniac being like, well, I guess Insomniac, you could kind of see it. It's like, here's a AA Venom game. But I don't know, man. What is a AA budget in 2025? This is a serious question. Because we have to understand, like, AA games and AAA games are determined based off of, I think, the budget. And I'm not even sure what the budget is for a AA game in 2025. I know AAA games now go, you know, they're like 150, 200, sometimes 250 million. I mean, they get kind of crazy, 40 to 50 million. You know what's interesting? I think that would qualify Saros as a AA game, technically. I think Saros is like a $70 million game. So I don't know if that crosses the threshold. What would we say, 100 million is like the threshold between AA and AAA? Anything that's under 100 million, but above 50 would be like AA. AA game, AAA scope. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Housemarque, I mean, they're like a smaller team, generally or comparatively speaking. Dragonite, you're saying Red Faction? I haven't heard about Red Faction in a long time. Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, what was the budget of Ghost of Tsushima? I know it was something. Ghost of Tsushima's budget was reportedly $60 million. That can't be true. Like, there's no way that's true. $60 million for Ghost of Tsushima. I don't believe that. And Hellbound 1981, another legend. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit delayed here. He comes and he drops another 5-bomb on you guys, bringing us up to 11 members on the day. Hellbound, thank you so much, my friend. That's what Hellbound is saying when that's what he says when he drops a 5-bomber. That's the sound he makes. So we're making our way. We'll see if we can get to that 25 mark. Boss is just sitting next to me here on the desk, eyeing me, just intensely staring at me. Spider-Man 2 being 300 million is nuts. That's nuts. They just announced the complete edition. Tell me this is The Last of Us you're talking about. Where the Winds Meet, closed beta coming to PS5 and PC from May 16th to 19th. They sure did. Sony sure did announce. Sean Mitchell, where you at, bro? Don't worry, Sony's got you covered. Sony read your super chat. Let's go back. Let's go back to Sean's super chat. And Corey the Legend Landiga comes in and drops another 10-bomb on you guys.
Holy shit.
Corey brings us up to 21 members. I think we could do it, boss. I think we could do it. We might be able to get you some treats soon enough. Thank you, Corey. I really, really appreciate that support, man. You've been really, truly doing so much for the channel. I am gonna have to get that. I'm gonna have to get that boss statue for you. It's the least I could do for you, Corey. And Dragon Knight comes in and drops another 5-bomb, and then Hellbound 1981. They're tag teaming it, bro. 5-bomb, 10 members gifted, crushing the goal. Boss, it's time. I wanted to see if he would react to that. It's time. You ready?
Boss, do you read me? It's time to feed the beast.
We are now at 31 members, guys. Thank you so much for getting that member train going and immediately crushing the goal. Here you go, boss. You know I'm going to need that. You know I'm going to need those membership gifts. I'm going to need that money to get the just announced Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 complete edition. Oh, here you go, Luna. Gee, I wonder what the comments are going to look like. I wonder how the internet is going to respond. I'm sure it'll be met with joy and excitement. Let me update this goal and we'll go check it out. Hold on one moment. There we go. Really quick, though, I want to go back to Sean Mitchell's super chat from 12:40 p.m. So 20 minutes from the time he super chatted this, Sony just announced The Last of Us 1 and 2 Complete Edition. He says, "Seen The Last of Us is renewed for a third season, 5 versions of 2 games, 3 seasons of 2 games. The more the milking goes on, the more I distance myself as a fan. Somebody at Sony, somebody at Naughty Dog was watching the stream. They saw him post that, and he's like, all right, put it out. 2 unforgettable stories in one package, introducing The Last of Us Complete, coming to PS5 today. Available now. All right, well, they just shadow dropped a digital version, so... All right, let me read the blog post. They say here, Neil Druckmann says, here at Naughty Dog, we have some exciting news to share with Last of Us fans. Is this exciting, Neil? Is it, though? Is it? This is the exciting news for Last of Us fans? Damn, boss, you inhaled those treats. I'll give you a little bit of catnip, too. I'll give him a little bit of nip. A little bit of nip. It's $100. That's actually not that bad for both games. Pretty sure The Last of Us Part 1 still goes for like 60 or 70 bucks. Oh, that's a little too much. That's too much. I can't give you all that. I don't want you to... Wait, physical collector's edition? Yeah, so let's read the blog post here. Neil Druckmann says, here at Naughty Dog, we have some exciting news to share with Last of Us fans, whether you've been with us since the debut in 2013 or just wanting to jump into the games now. We wanted to celebrate our studio, the series, and you, the fans, by making it easier than ever to experience the story. We're proud to introduce The Last of Us Complete. That's what it's called. The Last of Us Complete. Let's actually... When they have a trailer... Oh, come on. They're asking my age just to put this... I'm not... All right. Available today on the PlayStation 5 console, The Last of Us Complete allows players to experience both The Last of Us Part 1 and The Last of Us Part 2 remastered in one package. The Last of Us Complete makes it easier than ever to experience the full story on PS5, whether you played both entries, just one, or have yet to immerse yourself in the world of Joel, Ellie, Abby, and all of our characters. The Last of Us Complete digital download is available now, but we've also created a special physical version. I don't know why I'm reading it like this. The Last of Us Complete Collector's Edition is now available for pre-order exclusively at PlayStation Direct and will be available on July 10th. And yes, in case you're wondering, we did completely remove Joel from the box art. So now it's literally just Ellie. No, I'm not kidding. The art looks kind of cool, I guess. Pretty interesting. The Last of Us Complete's physical release is housed in a beautiful collector's box featuring new artwork capturing the humanity at the heart of our story through a beautiful, intricate design. Included is a steelbook case with this artwork, which stores physical discs. You know what? I should bring this up. Why am I not? I'm sorry, guys. I'm dropping the ball here. And Sean Mitchell with another super chat. He says, Sony read this. SP is milking the Ghost series. I'd have to distance myself as a fan if they shadow dropped Yote right now. 1 hour later, Ghost of Yote abruptly canceled. If you look closely, it's Joel's head in the middle, bro. Oh, I really thought you were joking. You're right. I totally missed that. Oh, I see what they did there. That's pretty cool. I mean, I was just joking about Joel not being on the cover. But you're right. He's in the center. The outline. That's cool. I wonder how long it would have taken. You should have said anything. You should just wait and see how long it took me to notice that. I probably never would have noticed. Our digital daddy is gone. I'm really glad they're doing a physical version of this, though, in all seriousness, because Sony could have easily... See, this gives me hope. This gives me hope. I'm not buying this. I mean, I have the games already, but like this gives me hope that this could have easily just been a digital release. They did release it digitally today, but they are doing a physical version. You have to pre-order it and you have to wait a little while for it. But for the people who want physical, it's there. Now, granted, they probably know people are going to want to double dip, but let me just bring it up here. I'm sorry, I'm just reading it to you and not showing it. Just gonna have to give me a minute here so I can. I wasn't expecting this to be announced today. I really gotta like get this set up to where I could just press a button, but I'm gonna be blocked for a moment here. But if we go up here, so this, I guess, is what's going to come with the collector steelbook case with physical discs of The Last of Us Part 1 and The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. The Last of Us American Dreams comics number 1 through 4 with new cover art. And a set of 4 lithographic art prints. It's pretty sick, actually, those lithographs. Imagine Oblivion Remake Shadow drops today. So today, the digital version of this released today. So it's basically like a combo pack. But yeah, the physical version is coming out July 10th. You can pre-order it now, apparently. Apparently, it includes a thank you letter from Neil Druckmann. You see that in the small text here at the bottom. I don't know if you guys can read that, but it does include that. Let's see what else. Okay. Also dive behind the scenes with hours of commentary, lost levels. Closer look at the lithographs. I feel like this lithograph right here of Joel and Ellie on the horses actually is pretty sick. The one next to it too is really cool. You got Abby and Ellie here. And they say here at the bottom from our entire studio, thank you so much for your incredible support for The Last of Us and Naughty Dog over the years. This is such an exciting moment for both the franchise and our teams. We're so humbled by your personal stories of what the series has meant to you, have marveled at your incredible photo mode shots, and aspire to keep pushing ourselves forward to create more stories in a world you love. So there you go. That is the official announcement. They got that marathon marketing. So Last of Us Complete. You know, I'm looking at the title here. Last of Us Complete. Not Complete Edition. Just Complete. I like it. What do you think this says about the possibility of The Last of Us Part 3? I mean, I don't want to like read into it too much, but do you think there's any chance that this is... Do you think this is Naughty Dog's way of like letting us know like it's complete? We're good. No. Still definitely going to be a part 3. Well, the question is, if they do a part 3 and then they want to release all 3 games in a package, what do you call it? Bro, who is this for? You know what? Honestly, it's a good question. Who is this for? So I'm going to say that this has everything to do with The Last of Us Season 2 HBO. I think that's exactly what this is for. I think it's meant... I think they're doing the physical version for double dippers. You know, people who want to collect physical media for PlayStation. You know, I think there are going to be Last of Us fans that do have physical versions of Part 1 and Part 2, but are also going to buy this. But I think just putting it out there and releasing it, generally speaking, on April 10th, 3 days before the show drops, I think that's why. And I'll be honest, it's smart, dude. I can't deny it's pretty smart. I mean, it is annoying to a degree where it's like, oh, yeah, okay, Sony, we get it. More Last of Us. More Last of Us. We get it, Sony. But I cannot deny that from a business perspective, if you're trying to create synergy between your HBO series and the game that you're trying to, because keep in mind, we have to remember Sony's goal with PlayStation Productions, the reason why they even decided to make a series, a TV series for The Last of Us, was to introduce people to the game, to bring them over to PlayStation. To bring them over. Notice how, hold on, actually. Notice how this isn't releasing on PC. Apparently. Which I guess kind of makes sense because they literally just released part 2 on PC. But, that's the whole point. But yeah, it's not necessarily a good look. It's not really a good look when you see people, we've seen so many people complaining about how they just want them to, like, please God, stop talking about The Last of Us. And they're like, so you want another remaster? Let's go check the replies on Twitter. Remove the first game and I'll consider buying? Whoa, hold on. That is not a response I expected. Remove the first game and I'll consider buying. What? Then somebody says, why would you remove the only good one? And then they say, I didn't. I said remove the first. Remove one half of the series and I'll consider buying. Like, dude, immediate brain rot. Immediate brain rot when I go check the replies. Instantaneous. There isn't even like a buffering in between. Somebody says, you're selling it again? There are people excited for it, though. I will say, I'm actually seeing a fair bit of positivity. I'm assuming these are real people, real accounts. Somebody says this is the only game that exists. Somebody else with a lot of upvotes says, how many times y'all going to release this damn game? And then, of course, you have the Linkin Park, Mike Shinoda, is how you say his name? One game. Did you guys ever see that, by the way? The Linkin Park video, like making fun of PlayStation. It's pretty funny. I would like to play it, but I don't know if that would be copyrighted. I feel like it would. Maybe I'll play it at the end. I don't know. I feel like now would be an appropriate time to play it, though. We have one game. I don't know why. I don't know what the lyrics are after that for Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting to listen to that whole thing, but it was pretty good. That was pretty good. Like, not completely accurate, but I mean, how long ago was that made? Because they were talking about like launch games. Oh wow, that's 4 years old. Shit, I cried so hard. Oh, what a masterpiece. 100% accurate. In all seriousness, you know what the funniest thing about it, though, is the fact that I would argue the PS5's launch was probably the strongest time, like in terms of actually like dumping a bunch of shit at like a bunch of new games at once. But here we are, Last of Us Complete re-release. But in the end, it's another remaster. Aren't stated plays basically considered PlayStation showcases now? Maybe. I mean, we've been speculating about that. We've been speculating that internally Sony... You want me to play the song again? Should that just be the background music that I play in the stream? All right, wait. I did mean to do something else though. I'm gonna play this as background music, and I don't know if it's gonna. I played it yesterday for a little bit. I know what we'll do. This will be the background music. I don't know if it's too loud though. Hanzo, you like that? This is like one of my favorite Metal Gear tracks, dude. It's so good. It's so good. Vibes. Someone get him a cigar. You hope we get Yote gameplay. Where's Fat Man at? This music played too much in MGS2. I think that's why I like it so much. Because, I mean, MGS2 soundtrack in general is amazing. But I think you're right. I think this is the one I've heard the most. It's like ingrained. It's nostalgic. All right, let me see here. Ryan, you're saying you don't mind proper remasters. You don't need Bloodborne on PC, really. You love to see port begging. Well, to be fair, I think PlayStation players and PC players are united in their port begging. I think PS5 owners want a remaster or remake. PC players obviously just want it in general. No, I never heard that. Snake 07. Never heard it. At this point, we need Wolverine gameplay for what most people want to see. You want to see something fresh? You're thinking maybe Cory Barlog's game? Cory Barlog's game, the new IP, that's going to be really interesting when that's announced. Mainly because of how long it's been in development, and also the fact that it's going to be the first new IP from that studio, I think, since God of War. And I think there's this kind of pressure there where it's like, well, the expectation is high, the bar is high, and you're known as the God of War studio. I think the assumption is that this new IP from Santa Monica is going to be very, very, very different from God of War, as it should be. But how different are we talking? In what ways will it be different? In good ways? It seems like it's going to be a sci-fi game. Seems like it's going to be a sci-fi game. We don't really know that much about it. We just know that Cory Barlog's the one directing it. We know it's been It's been in development for a while. Yeah, and that's another interesting thing about the idea of Santa Monica's new game is that we just had Intergalactic revealed. Intergalactic is a sci-fi game, and it seems like this is going to be another sci-fi game. So we might have two sci-fi games, very different games, of course, from one another, but sci-fi from Naughty Dog, sci-fi from Santa Monica. Well, yeah. See, Robert, you're referring to the 4chan leak. The 4chan leak made it sound like it's like a sci-fi game, but it's going to be like kind of also medieval times. Like, you know how like in Horizon Zero Dawn, it's in the future, but it basically reduced humanity back to like the Stone Age or whatever. It seems like it's going to be a similar premise, except humanity's reduced back to like medieval times. So, science fiction, but also some high fantasy mixed in, which sounds like it could be really interesting. Yeah, I mean that would put an interesting spin on it. I would be open to that. Goddess of War. Now that would not go down well. Guys, how are we feeling about Days Gone Remastered? I meant to ask you guys, how are we feeling about Days Gone Remastered? I want to bring something up. I'll watch it with you guys. It's short, it's just a trailer. All right, let's watch 2 trailers, actually. This is the trailer for The Last of Us Complete Edition.
I struggled for a long time with surviving. Ellie! No matter what. You keep finding something to fight for.
You can't stop this.
I mean, they never miss with their trailers with these things. They seemingly never miss with their trailers. So I figured, we went over all this. We talked about it. Just wanted to show you the trailer for it. But since I mentioned Days Gone, let me I wanted to watch, and we'll watch the other trailer too for Where the Winds Meet. Where the hell is that Days Gone trailer? Here we go. So this trailer for Days Gone actually got me really excited for the game. I was already feeling excited for it, but this trailer reminded me of like how awesome the hordes are in the game. Boozer. I saw somebody on Twitter saying that they may have spotted a new weapon. I don't know if I remember all the weapons that were in Days Gone, though. Bro, the Horde mode looks nuts. I think they're being smart with the way they're marketing this, man. I mean, I think the Hordes in Days Gone were easily like the best part. They did them so well, and apparently they're going to be not woke enough. Cancel the game. I'm curious if you go check the comments. Days Gone 2 has to be done. We need Days Gone 2, Days Gone 2, Days Gone 2, Days Gone 2. A sequel. Days Gone 2, Days Gone 2. I mean, come on. They got to be getting the message, right? That's all people are saying. Days Gone 2. That's literally all I'm seeing. Although this guy says this mode should have co-op. That's it. That's actually a good idea, too. One of the best games ever. Please, everyone, buy this remaster for $10 and they will see that it sells. Only then will they finally do a Days Gone 2. Well, you got to convince the studio, man. That's the thing here. I mean, you have to imagine that Sony Bend is seeing this and they're like, yeah, dude, maybe we should make a Days Gone 2. Everybody's asking for it. Hordes. Days Gone Hordes. I can't wait to fight the whores. The hordes. All those whores. Shems, why are you doing this to me, man? Shems is making me stupid. All right, let's go check out another trailer. Let's see. We got... There's a lot of trailers that released today. Where the Winds Meet. I think this is a PS5 console exclusive.
这是禅一咒，中命瓦夫格，世万横魔界，碧血平湖托。
Is that a Metallica song?
春秋其罪我，但问情是爱，谁家妻儿说？
Chinese Metallica. Why is that funny? I don't know why that's funny. Oh, hell yeah, man. This looks good. So it says it's coming this year. You can wish list it. What do you guys think? I think it looks good. I think it looks pretty good. There's one other trailer. So there's two other things we should watch. One is another trailer. Two, The Outer Worlds 2, 11 minutes. Have you guys seen this? Slightly controversial gameplay of The Outer Worlds 2, where apparently it's like looking pretty rough. I don't know. I don't know if I want to watch 11 minutes of it though, but maybe we could check it out for a moment. There was one more trailer I wanted to watch with you guys. Where is it? Okay, actually we have two more trailers. Sorry. So we got another Elden Ring Night Rain trailer. The Duchess. You guys excited for Elden Ring Night Rain? I'm curious to see how this does, because like I've seen quite a few people say they're just simply not interested because it's multiplayer. The big thing I've heard about Elden Ring Night Rain that's so different to regular Elden Ring is the pace of it. It's very, very fast. You can't explore anything. Like, it's just very fast paced. Oh man, that I don't do collector's editions, but that's a nice ass collector's edition right there, dude. That's a nice ass collector's edition. You're gonna play it with friends? It reminds you of Metal Gear Survive. Whoa. All right, one other trailer. Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Rated M for mature.
Who's looking forward to this game?
I know I shouldn't grow attached to humans. They are ephemeral creatures.
Yo, that saxophone though.
When they go, they never come back. Yet I share their sadness.
Minoko,
I share their joy.
you mentioned traveling with other expeditions.
Quite a few.
How many? What happened to them?
Ladies. Could I? Ow!
Definitely a gestural.
Interest you in a duel? Okay, I'm in. Style away. No distractions, son. I'm really busy beating up strangers.
Get some freeform jazz, bro.
Imagine you're a Nevron, and you see me.
The thing that's shocking to me about this game is I think this is the developer's first game. This is Claire Obscure Expedition 33. It's a turn-based RPG.
Think of the intimidation.
I just can't believe it's the developer's first time.
Gradient attacks.
Is it launching on Game Pass? I didn't know that.
You didn't teach them, did you? You lazy old fart.
It's $50. Developers are French.
We lived on this mountain together for some time.
Romantic.
All right, hold on. So somebody suggested this game, Retrieval.
Sometimes things don't go as planned. And sometimes... Digging. Always searching for answers we should have never asked. always clawing at the surface like worms begging for food. A lack of understanding to push what we don't know when something should be left alone.
There's nothing we can do. There is no end.
That actually looks really interesting, but I'm a little nervous about it though, because like I don't know. I mean, it looked like a CG trailer. So 2026, a cinematic horror action adventure game. I mean, I like the premise and I like what I saw in this trailer, but it's like one of those things where it's like I gotta definitely see some gameplay. But yeah, it looks like it could be good. Let's go check out that Outer Worlds 2 gameplay. Hold on. 1 second.
Welcome to our latest IGN First, and it's all about The Outer Worlds 2. This is the very first look at its gameplay to kick off our exclusive coverage throughout the month of
I did
April.
not
I
play
got
The
to
Outer
visit
Worlds
the
1. I'm
developers
probably
at
not going to
Obsidian
play
see
2.
the game itself, interview
but
them about how it was made, and get insight on a ton of its
I know
new
people are looking
features.
forward to it.
So keep an eye out for a deep
I don't
dive in
know if
the
I'm
coming
going to
weeks.
play the
But
whole
for now,
thing though.
enjoy this look at a quest that takes you through the N-Ray facility, where you'll see many of its new gameplay systems in action.
Graphics look pretty good. Is it Unreal Engine 5? Confirmed UE5 game. I feel like there's something weird. Hold on. There's something weird going on with the screen when they're moving the camera. Is that what it is? Screen tearing?
That's the range, Commander. Oh, this will be glorious. Hope my enthusiasm doesn't get the better of me. Those traitors need to suffer.
Oh, it's so weird. What is that? It hurts my eyes. My eyes! Think it looks better in Starfield?
Enemies descried. It's killing time.
You think IGN screwed up the gameplay capture?
My piety is the key.
It seems like anytime they move the screen, they move the camera basically. It's having some kind of, I guess that's what it is, screen tearing.
Oh, the unspeakable
Yeah, we talked about that, Joe Mac. We talked about it. We watched the trailer for it. We even played a whole song for it. So I know that the last thing Obsidian put out was Avowed, and that seemed to be middling. Like some people liked it, some people didn't. It was kind of an, you know, an okay game, an okay to good game. Oh Jesus. Okay, yeah. Now I saw that. I saw that screen tear. That was bad. Oh, this is hard to look at. I'm not even kidding, dude. Screen tearing sucks. But, is it expected that this game is going to be better than Avowed? Because I think the Outer Worlds 1 was reviewed pretty well, right? Just turn on VSync. Come on, IGN, turn on VSync. Is that... You're saying is an 81 considered mid? Is that what Avowed's sitting at? I didn't know it was that high. Oh yeah, then I would say that's good, yeah. An 81, basically an 8 out of 10, I would say is
0.36 cubes
very good.
divided by the standard rate of fluid flow, and then you multiply.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out if this game's supposed to be... Like, if the expectations for this game are much higher.
Hello. Look at the state of this poor fool. They just left her bleeding out? Exsanguination is an art. Where's the precision, the pride in their work? This is just embarrassing.
There's a cultist behind you. Wait.
You think the voice acting's bad?
With you. Fine. Just please keep her away from me.
We're watching Outer Worlds 2, 11 minutes of exclusive gameplay from IGN first.
The crazed cultist, people like your friend here, have been sowing destruction throughout the range for days. I've seen few firsthand.
Oh, sorry, hold on.
But that isn't because they've gone. Rather, I believe they have become visibility.
Rocky Rob, you're saying this ain't it? The Outer Worlds 1 has an 85 on Metacritic.
Oh, there's no such thing as invisibility. I can only theorize that their visual forms were sent out of phase when they haphazardly tampered with pressurized N-rays.
Their actions are inexcusable.
Classic WRPG
Science
dialogue.
allows us to unveil the wonder of the rifts. We do not disrespect it. Now, is there any science?
Carlos, you're
around
saying
here with
VSync
these
fixes
fine
screen tearing. Any game with
It's a
VSync
shame
disabled
the
will have it.
facility is in shambles.
Try it for yourself on
Leave an
PC.
N-ray scanner device that may render
Well, I mean,
the
this is
cultists far
still an
easier
early
for one
version
to
of the game, I
locate.
would assume.
The scanner
Is there a
an
release date
optical
for this
device
yet?
designed
I know
to
it's going to be at
detect
the Xbox
electrical
showcase,
signals
but I don't know
and
if there's a
given off
date
by
for
all
it.
living beings. Visible or not, the cultists still
Yeah, hopefully it'll
give
run
off
smooth on the
N-rays.
Pro.
They were stored nearby. But with the damage to the facility, you'll likely need to use the maintenance vent on the wall there behind the
The Outer
screen
Worlds
to
isn't
get
bad,
anywhere
but it's
near
no
it.
New Vegas.
Don't worry.
It was supposed to be space
I'll just be
Fallout,
here in my
which it
seething
was.
puddle of blood.
Avowed was a new Skyrim, but everything changed when Xbox bought the studio. Oh, this game comes out. Wait, when does this game come out? I think it's this year. It's somebody in the chat saying it's coming out soon. I guess this year. I mean, we're in April, so I guess that would, yeah, that would be soon. Ray, you're saying the Outer Worlds is way better than Avowed? I think the Outer Worlds 2 has been announced for PS5. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to play this game, no. I never really got into Obsidian games, dude. I've never really been... Look, I like RPGs, but I've really strayed away from Western RPGs, mostly. Ironically enough. I just never really played any that hooked me. Will Xbox show any new games aside from the new Call of Duty? Actually, wait, is that where they're going to announce the new Call of Duty? I guess that would make sense. I forget that for some reason, even though they had a whole direct dedicated to Black Ops 6 last year.
Enemy spotted.
I'm assuming Microsoft will have quite a few games to show at their showcase this year. Smurf, you're saying you're the opposite. You don't like JRPGs usually. Beast Mode, you want to see more Perfect Dark? Perfect Dark looks promising. It's shaping up better than I would have expected. I'm assuming that's a game we'll see more of. Yeah, I fell off of Cyberpunk, man. It's not that I wasn't enjoying it. It's just, I don't know. It happens sometimes when I play games, man. I'm trying to get better with it. I think I like playing RPGs, but I fall off of them very easily, I notice. I don't know why. It's not that I don't enjoy them.
Haven't had time to clean up. It's so hard to get bloodstains out of our uniforms. You can use it to see the wires connecting.
Viper, you're saying you
this
finished
door to the
Avowed?
nearest override
Thought it
panel.
was really good.
Try not to electrocute yourself. Don't worry. I'll just be here.
Josh, were you asking what I thought about Cyberpunk? Gaming Survivor, you think Western RPGs peaked around the 7th gen? Never did play Monster Hunter yet. No. I feel like I missed my window. I was on the fence with it, and then too many weeks passed by, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm too far behind now. But I don't know. That's one of those things. I'll be honest, man. Like, I just felt too intimidated, man. I played... It's crazy, because I played Monster Hunter World extensively. But it's been too long, and I'm like, I don't know that I have the brain power right now, man. I am getting to that point, I noticed, where really long games are starting to seriously intimidate me.
Let's get on with the killing.
I've noticed that. Saying you're asking if I'm not really in the first person unless it's Call of Duty. No, I like first person games. I play different first person games, not just Call of Duty.
You've opened the way forward. Very good work.
Dark Cloud, you're saying you sometimes regret spending the $700 on your PS5 Pro? You fell off of Metaphor ReFantasio after 100 hours? Is that falling off, though? Can we really call that falling off? I mean, I guess if you didn't beat it. I feel like this game is very, very slow-paced. I guess this is the end of the...
That's just the taste of what's to come in the Outer Worlds.
Okay. I wonder what people are saying. Note from the devs, just a quick note that all the footage is from a work-in-progress alpha build. IGN really wanted to make sure we got a good look at the slowest movement speed. Pro tip, hold down L3 to run. Animation improved a lot over the original, I'll give it that. Apparently they found the solution to improved facial animations. They're gone. If IGN moved quicker in the game, this would have been a 2-minute gameplay demo. It was pretty slow, yeah. So I never played the Outer Worlds, so I don't know if that's how it's normally played or if it was like purposely slowed down. Interesting. All right, well. So here we take a little break there. Go check out some trailers. See Boss is fast asleep. He's very happy. He got his treats. He got some catnip. He's taking a long nap now. Another 80-plus RPG. Typically, it's slow like Fallout. Dark Cloud, you're saying, I just know I could have survived playing my launch edition PS5 for the rest of the generation. I mean, that's understandable. It's different for everybody. I don't regret buying the Pro. I really like it, but I could understand if you feel like maybe you're not getting the, it's not everything you hoped it would be. But let me fix my camera here. Okay. All right, let me head back over to my studio here. Sorry, I'm just a little discombobulated right now. By the way, guys, if you haven't already... Yeah, I moved the camera, Garrett. If you haven't already, please take a moment and hit that like button. Press that like button. Smash it. Press it gently. Whatever you like. It helps the streams tremendously. Naughty Dog announces The Last of Us Complete Edition. I saw this floating around, by the way. I didn't know what to make of it. So, According to a LinkedIn profile, it seems like Warner Bros. Games has been working on an unannounced IP slated to launch in 2025. This was spotted by Timur 222. I don't know. I'm like stroking out trying to say their name. According to this dev's profile, it shows him as the game design lead at Warner Bros. Games since 2023. Under the experience section of his profile, it states that he has been working as a manager of game design for a new unannounced IP game for Warner Bros. Games launching in 2025. What's we? Yeah, somebody says 2 weeks after the release. Or there was a recent report, Insider Gaming, Warner Bros. Games seemingly gearing up to shut down the recently announced IP in 2025. Oh, hold on, that's a joke post. Never mind. I'm just kind of curious about this because it's like Garrett Green, a member for 17 months, says, MBG, my bald god. Thank you, Garrett. Thank you for using your milestone chat wisely. And thank you for being a member for 17 months, man. I do appreciate it. Blu-ray subs on Reddit are reporting that movies are getting a tariff fee. It's not much, like $2 or $4 per movie, but it seems like the prices of all physical games will increase too. Interesting. I mean, I could deal with that. An extra, like, I mean, $2, $5. I'm assuming most companies will probably increase it by like $5. 75 for physical. I mean, I could tolerate that. It sucks. I don't want to pay more, but like, if it's that or just no physical media, you know. Gotham Knights. I'm just wondering what this new Warner Brothers IP could be. Obsidian makes some of the ugliest HUDs in history. Joshua Reese says, here's $2, MBG. Well, thank you, Joshua. That's very kind of you, buddy. I appreciate the donation, man. $90 for a digital key card is wild. Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow, man. I mean, it's still, yeah. I mean, I guess it's still a physical, tangible item, but that's tough. By the way, did you guys see, I mentioned this in my video that I put out today, but it's been officially confirmed that Marathon will not require a PSN account. And Corey, the legend Landiga, coming in literally out of nowhere. I thought Corey fell asleep and was taking a nap like boss here, dropping a 20 bomb on you guys.
Holy shit.
He drops the 20 bomb. He says, pump that iron, lad. He's like, MBG, it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up the guns. Corey, thank you so much, man. Yeah, the only time I work out now is when I hit 50 members, bro. I'm getting really out of shape real fast. I'm just kidding. I'm still working out. I got sick like a week and a half ago or something, so I had to take a little bit of time off, but we need some serious reps. All right. I want to get some... Should I play that PS5 song again? All right. What music? I got to play something cool. I got to play something heavy. I need something that's going to pump me up. What should I play? I can't, dude. If I play that PS5 song while I'm trying to lift weights, I'm gonna drop a weight. Wait, Patrick, what are you asking? I just see Patrick saying, "Please, I." Oh, you're. You didn't hear the song before? I mean, you guys are recommending actual bands, which I guess makes sense. I'm afraid to play any action. I played Creed for literally 30 seconds yesterday on stream. Copyright claim. Instant copyright. Like, dude, they don't joke around. Let me I know what to play. I know exactly what to play because I'm still playing that Terminator game. Here we go. Hopefully this won't get copyrighted. I'm just trying to see if this is actually good. I'm not sure how I feel about that cover. What did you guys think? Like, it wasn't bad, but are they using like a drum machine? MG has that metal endoskeleton. It was okay. I feel like there are definitely better ones though. Hold on. Let's see. Is this one better? We need some shoulder press. You never saw the Terminator movies, dude? Dude, the music in Terminator is amazing. It really is. All right, we'll do some shoulder press. Oh no, it's just awkward silence. No. This is what I was hearing, guys. Oh God. I got pretty close to failure there. Well, there you go. There are your reps. Corey, those reps were for you, bro. In a manly, straight way. Bro, that's so awkward that I just did half of those reps in awkward silence. I apologize. Music is the best. I'm curious to see how this goes though after we're wrapped up with copyrights. I mean, I'll still be able to remove them. That's a good thing, so people can still watch it. My experience with kettlebells, minimal. I was gonna buy some. I probably still should. I heard they're great. I'm just too used to dumbbells. Oh, Mortal Kombat, yeah, dude. We do a full-blown workout stream, Mortal Kombat. Shit, man, I got my creatine right here, bro. I'm ready. You think I should buy some? I was going to, and I don't remember what stopped me. It always makes me sick if I chug it. Play old school Mortal Kombat? All right, yeah, I'm gonna stop it there before. Yeah, there's already been so many copyrights, bro. The original Mortal Kombat movie was really good, like at least how I remember it. The way I remember the Mortal Kombat movies is the first one was really, really good, and then the sequel was atrocious, and then I think they just stopped after that, if I recall. That's on your workout playlist? Nice. I don't really have any video game music. The only music from video games that I have on my playlist are the Red Dead songs. I don't know, like Unshaken is one of them. And what's the other one? See, the last one that plays when you do like the last ride with Arthur Morgan. I forget the name of the song. It's an emotional song, bro. You know, so it's like if I'm in the middle of a workout and that comes on, I have to stop that workout for a good cry before I can proceed. You know, I have I don't know if I added it to my playlist, but I've listened to BB's theme and The Wilder, the new I don't actually have Low Roar. No, I should probably add that. Some of these I like search for and listen to sometimes, but they're not added to my playlist. I used to have that song. It might still be there, Nuclear. I forget the name of the artist who did that song, but it was in one of the Metal Gear Solid 5 trailers. Like, I'm nuclear. I'm wild. Don't want to sing it too well, you know? Get another copyright. But that trailer was so awesome. Do you guys know what MGS5 trailer I'm talking about? Doom music. Yeah, can't go wrong with that. You know what I listened to recently? A metal rendition of the 28 Days Later theme. I don't know if you guys know that theme. Now that's intense. It's kind of like ominous. It's not kind of. It's very ominous. Like, I don't know if it necessarily puts you in the right frame of mind to like work out, because it almost is a bit anxiety inducing. It's very good. You were listening to the music score for Glory the other day. Listen to Hans Zimmer, Prince of Egypt. I mean, the the band that I have been listening to, I've had to tell myself to take a break from listening to this band because I've been listening to them so much that I think it's just not healthy. Mainly because most of their songs are kind of depressing and are pretty heavy thematically, but Soundgarden, dude. Jeez, like I can't. I don't know. It's like my comfort music. Every time oh, I'm sorry I didn't let you guess. I'm sorry. I should. Yeah, I could have made it a game. But I just cannot stop listening to Soundgarden. What's interesting is I went back and I started listening to some earlier Soundgarden, and man, I think they put out like 6 albums in total. And there's like 2 versions of Soundgarden. There's like their first 3 albums and then their last 3 albums. And I feel like the band in terms of sound and tone and even just thematically, like they completely changed, starting with Bad Motorfinger. And then the next 2 albums after that. And I think it was a good change. Like they really, I think, found their identity. But their earlier albums have some good stuff on it too. I've been listening to the song. I think it's a cover, but it's called Incessant Mace. It's pretty catchy. Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Smashing Pumpkins, Stone Temple Pilots, and Pearl Jam. Yeah, it's another band I have on my playlist that comes up all the time. Stone Temple Pilots, Alice in Chains. Smashing Pumpkins I like. Not, like I don't go out of my way to listen to Smashing Pumpkins, but I do like them. Nothing clean, right? Nothing clean, right? I am. I'm big into grunge. I used to be really into Nirvana back when I was like 12, 13 years old skateboarding. That was kind of like my Nirvana phase. I don't know. I still like Nirvana, but I just don't really care for Nirvana nearly as much as I used to. I'm into thrash metal. Yeah. Metallica, Megadeth. I like some Slayer occasionally. What are some other good? I don't know. There's Anthrax, the band. Like that song Madhouse. You listen to the Beatles. Believe it or not, the Beatles are a band that I just never got it. I never understood. I don't have a problem with the Beatles at all, but anytime I've heard the Beatles, I'm like, that's cool. But I never got it. It never clicked with me, dude. And I feel weird because I feel like everybody loves the Beatles, but I'm just like, I just don't get it. They're your favorite band of all time. I'm more of a Led Zeppelin guy, more so than the Beatles. I love Led Zeppelin. One of my favorite Zeppelin songs. I mean, they got so many, but No Quarter, incredible song. What's that? Dazed and Confused. That's an incredible Led Zeppelin song. Yeah, Tool. I mean, Tool's an incredible band. AC/DC. AC/DC is one of those bands that became so mainstream that I just couldn't really, like, I don't go out of my way to listen to AC/DC. I have them on my playlist and I like them a lot, but I'm not trying to like go out of my way to spool up some AC/DC. I feel like that's a band I've actually overheard in my life. I have a lot of Godsmack. Godsmack's really good. Yeah. Johnny Gaming, a member for 9 months, says, "Do you play Rock Band? I still play after all these years and have about 900 songs on it." I've talked many times on my streams about Rock Band and my love for it. I don't play it anymore. I did. It's actually funny you mention it, Johnny Gaming. About a month and a half ago, I pulled out my Xbox One X because that's where all my Rock Band songs are. Re-downloaded them. Had to scour my home to find a guitar, a Rock Band guitar that I knew was somewhere in a closet, and I found it. But unfortunately, it was kind of broken, so I couldn't play it. But Yeah, I loved playing Rock Band, Guitar Hero, incredible games. Def Leppard. I've heard Def Leppard on the radio many times. Never had a problem with them, but not a band that I went out of my way to ever went out of my way to listen to. Being mad, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Glad I'm not the only one. You've seen Tool live. Maynard has his back towards the audience the whole time. What is that about? I know that's a thing he does. He like turns his back to the audience. Yeah, I've heard Periphery. Stage Fright? That would be kind of surprising. I guess it's possible. Deep Purple, yeah, Black Sabbath. Yeah, the thing that always got me about Black Sabbath is, I mean, they make amazing music, and they're like pioneers for like metal. I forget the name of the drummer, but the drummer Black Sabbath. I always felt like, man, this guy has to be the most underrated drummer ever. I mean, he was doing some crazy shit on the kit, dude. Bill Ward, yeah, in like the 60s. I'm like, John Bonham, obviously one of the best. To a lot of people, the absolute best. True pioneer. But I don't know, when I listen to like Bill Ward, I'm like, this guy's... I think he was basically emulating... I don't know if that's the right word to use, but he was doing stuff that I think would kind of pave the way for like modern metal drumming. And I don't know if he gets enough credit for that. They're doing their last tour in their hometown. I think I saw that being advertised. Yeah. It's crazy to see some of these bands, man. I mean, these bands were well before my time. I was born in the early 90s. So, a lot of these bands I already came to very late. It's like interesting to see something like they're very old. Rolling Stones, like, are they still touring, bro? I think their drummer actually died. Linkin Park. I like Linkin Park, but I never got deep into them. I remember with Linkin Park, it was always just like, I hear them on the radio, or I would hear them on the radio all the time. Same thing with the Foo Fighters. Bands that I would hear all the time without having to go out of my way. Pearl Jam, same thing. I actually do have some Pearl Jam on my playlist. Really like Pearl Jam. But I don't know, dude. It's weird. Like, ever since I really discovered Soundgarden and got deep into Soundgarden, I know everybody thinks this way about their favorite bands. Buckethead. Bro, Wes, Buckethead? Did we have this conversation before? I don't remember. Dude, Buckethead's the GOAT. I saw Buckethead live. If you don't know Buckethead, you got to go find Buckethead. I got to show you guys Buckethead now. It has to happen. I can't let you guys not know about Buckethead. Let's see. I'm trying to find like a good quality footage. Dude, so many of these videos of Buckethead are so old. Buckethead was in Guns N' Roses for a little bit. Steven Seagal's insane guitar solo. Okay, hold on. This takes priority, guys. I just came across a video titled Steven Seagal's insane guitar solo. So, sorry, Buckethead. You have to move over for just a moment. Yo, Lars Ulrich, worst fills. How you gonna do Lars like that?
Pay attention. You paying attention? Oliver, you sure?
Yes, sir.
Watch this.
a serious player, and I've been playing since
Car asks, what's a riff that sounds easy but is actually hard to play? Doesn't sound that difficult. And then you watch him play it, he's just got his thumb stretched all the way up here. It's incredible.
It's not what it looks
just
like.
Truly.
No, just hold on 1 second. All right, guys. I do have to end the stream. Sorry for the abrupt ending. It was getting good. Mrs. MBG needs my help. So, guys, I'm going to just end it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Hopefully we'll be back here tomorrow. And yeah, so guys, take care of yourselves. Thank you for all the support. I'll catch you hopefully tomorrow in the next stream. All right. So till then, take care, everyone.